All right, we got 1 minute. We'll just wait till 9:30 here and, oh, it's 9:30. Good morning. Thank you to all in attendance today. I'd like to call to order the August 26, 2024 meeting of the Perth County Land Division Committee. I'd like to make note that what will be shown on the screen for those viewing at home is our remote meeting platform, whereby whoever is speaking will be shown predominantly, with smaller images of members and staff attending along the edge of the screen. The agenda for this meeting here is posted online at perthcounty.ca. If you want to follow along, please feel free to access it now. Remind all committee members, staff, and others participating in the meeting to please mute your microphones when not in use to reduce feedback. As this meeting is being held remotely, the Secretary Treasurer will call for each of the members' names and each member respond if they are in favor or opposed to the motion. The Chair will announce the result of the vote. Before we proceed, we will confirm the attendance of the committee members by roll call.
Councillor Aitchison,
Present.
Councillor Trentowski,
Present.
Councillor McDermott,
Present.
Chair Duncan.
Present.
I did not receive regrets from Councillor McKenzie, so he may join us.
Okay. Thank you. And is there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Please declare now or at any time throughout the meeting. Yeah, I don't see any. So can I get a motion to confirm the agenda? Moved by Councillor Trentowski, seconded by Councillor Aitchison.
Councillor McKenzie, how do you vote? And welcome. We can't hear you.
I just couldn't get connected this morning at all. I kept trying and trying, it just wouldn't work.
Was that a yes vote on
That's a yes, sorry.
Okay, no, that's okay.
Very much a yes.
Councillor McDermott,
Yes.
Councillor Trentowski,
Yes.
Councillor Aitchison,
Yes.
and Chair Duncan.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. We've got minutes from the June 24th meeting. Can I get a motion to put those on the floor, please? Councillor McDermott, seconded by Councillor McKenzie.
Councillor Aitchison, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Trentowski,
Yes.
Councillor McKenzie,
Yes.
Councillor McDermott,
Yes.
and Chair Duncan.
Yes, it's carried. All right, moving along. We have application for consent to sever B2924 PLR Farms Limited. And Andrea, are you going to present that for us? Okay, floor is yours.
Thank you and good morning. I'm going to start by sharing my screen here. All right, so everyone can see that. So as Chair Duncan pointed out, this is an application for consent. It's B2924 and it was submitted by PLR Farms Limited. And it's for lands located at 5135 line 34. And the applicant is proposing to sever a surplus farm dwelling lot. The total size of the proposed severance is 1.04 hectares or 2.57 acres with an approximate frontage of 26 meters. And the severed lands contain an existing dwelling, attached garage, 2 metal-clad storage buildings, a septic, and a well. Whereas the lands to be retained are approximately 20.55 hectares or 50.8 acres in area with a frontage of 379.3 meters. And there are 3 existing barns that straddle the proposed new lot line that the owners have indicated will be removed. I'll just jump down here now to the sketch so everyone can have a closer view. And so the subject application, and I know the committee is very familiar with surplus farm dwelling severances, so I won't go through all of the specific policies and whatnot, but the planning staff are satisfied that the application meets the majority of the requirements of the it definitely meets the PPS. It meets the majority of the requirements of the OP, with the exception of staff were of the opinion that the parcel could be smaller than what the applicant has proposed. And as you can see, the planner has indicated that the lot should actually be reduced in size. And so there is a metal clad shed that is more than 50 meters from the dwelling. And the planner has actually, and sorry, I know that my name was signed to it, but John did originally write the application, so that's why I'm referring to the planner. So it's recommended that the parcel be reduced in size from the 2.57 acres to 1.74 acres. And that would just basically be for the reasons that it's creating too large of a parcel, and the committee has been tasked with the responsibility of trying to create parcels that are not taking up too much prime agricultural land. In addition, it's the opinion of the planning department that this metal shed is also in excess of what's required for a residential property in terms of storage and whatnot. And so it was generally our recommendation that we reduce the parcel size. And so we've included a condition 12, that speaks to that. And but with that exception, staff are generally supportive of the application, and we feel that it meets all of the other relevant requirements of both the PPS and the official plan. And with all of the surplus farm dwelling severances, of course, there's a condition to rezone both parcels. The conditions are generally the standard conditions, with the exception of MTO has included a condition that requires the applicant to construct a new access that would be to the satisfaction of MTO, and that would be for a field access. We took this application to West Perth Council, and they were supportive of the application that was as it was modified by staff. So in light of that, I will turn it back over to Chair Duncan, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thanks, Andrea. Questions, comments from the committee members? Councillor McDermott?
Just to, in reading it on page 10, there was about the MTO. So the entrance to that farm house, would they have to get another permit for that? It sounds like, excuse me, that you have to go back and even though there's an entrance there, you'd have to get that recertified or whatever. And then secondly, if we drew the line where planning is saying, what would happen to that shed?
So through Council or Chair Duncan to the question. So with respect to, sorry, Councilor McDermott, I'm just trying to read quickly through those MTO comments. I can speak specifically though to the shed in terms of the modified sketch, is that the shed could remain. It would remain with the retained land, so the farm parcel. So it could be used for implement storage or whatnot relating to the farm. Or I believe that actually Councillor Mackenzie had pointed this out at the West Perth Council meeting, that another option is that they could always lease it to the residential landowner if they chose to. But it should, in our opinion, stay with the farm. And then as for the MTO permit, it was not my understanding. Oh, you are right. So it does say that MTO would permit one residential entrance permit and then one field entrance permit. So yes, they would be required to obtain 2 permits.
Councillor Aitchison?
So just after hearing that answer to that question, I'm going to ask, what happens if the MTO turns down an entrance for something up through the field to get to that shed if it is retained with the farm?
Through Chair Duncan to the question. So actually another option, and I'm not sure if the owner had contemplated this, but another option would have been to establish an easement over the residential driveway to get into the farm, or the farm lands. That would be another option, but I don't know that that was presented to them, or if they had even contemplated that. But I get the impression based on MTO's comments that a second access would be considered acceptable, because I have seen in the past that they provide comments saying absolutely no additional accesses. So I'd be surprised if they said no at this point.
Councillor Aitchison?
I've been involved in this for a while. I've more often seen MTO say no than yes. It all depends on who's in the office, I think, down there the day the application goes in. But I remember a subdivision up in Listville, they wouldn't even grant access onto 23 highway. My second question is going to be, just if you don't mind. So let's say we keep the shed with the farm, and I'm not sure how wide that driveway is at the moment, but if you had to put a new driveway up on the east side of the original driveway to get to that shed, how much land would you use up to put a decent driveway in there? Because that house is a fair ways off the road. Anybody's good with math?
If I can, I'll share it again, and then the committee can take a closer look. Maybe that would be helpful. I don't have the answer to that right off the top of my head. I don't know the width there. We can take a look for sure. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a width there. So sorry, through Chair Duncan to Councillor Aitchison's question, are you suggesting then to expand the width of the driveway here, or sorry, you said on the east side, right? So were you thinking? Oh, your mic's off.
Sorry, I was muted again. I'm thinking they would rather be up the east side because they can't go up the west side because of the house and whatnot. And the shed's closer to the east side of that severance line.
I had actually wondered, I've seen in the past that MTO will allow an access to come off of, I mean, if they use basically the same apron out at the highway, and then they had a second driveway that kind of branches off into where the property line hits. But I'm not quite sure what MTO had in mind.
Okay, I think I had Councillor McKenzie first and then Councillor McDermott next.
Okay, yeah, I think to answer Jim's two questions, so this would be conditional, I would think, would it not, Andrea, that they get access for the retained or for the severed, the land portion from MTO. If they don't get an access from MTO, then I don't think they have a severance because they have to have access to it. With regards to the shed, and I know we've been down this on several occasions before, and I get the feeling that we're trying to suck and blow at the same time. You want your severance. It's our duty to make the severances as small as possible, or reasonably on the smaller side. Certainly they have access to the shed now through the laneway, and as Andrea said, an easement or whatever across the laneway would give them access to that shed. So I'm pretty definite that I think I would agree with what the planning has done, and the shed goes with the retained portion. If you don't like it, then too bad.
Okay, Councillor McDermott?
Just like Councillor Aitchison, I would be concerned that if they've got to put a laneway into that building, that you would be using up good farmland to do that. So I don't know if you'd be losing more by putting a laneway in or by just leaving the shed with the parcel. So just a comment.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the committee? Councillor Trentowski?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Shouldn't we find out what the decision of MTO is on the entrance permit issues first before we make a decision on this severance? So that seems to be the showstopper here, judging on the comments that I've heard so far. Shouldn't we be deferring until MTO makes their decision on what the entrance situation looks like?
I don't know if we've ever did that in the past. I think we've always just went ahead because it's a condition of this, the severance. Maybe planning could maybe.
So through Chair Duncan to the question, in reading the condition, it says specifically that the owner provide confirmation that two entrance permit applications have been received. So if the committee felt that, so I believe it was Councillor McKenzie had indicated that the application won't go through, or the approval won't go through if this condition can't be met. So if the committee felt that an easement was appropriate, we could add a condition that, or modify this condition to say, or an easement be established for access to the retained lands. And so we could, then there's the one or the other. And so that if the MTO permit weren't granted, or if the applicant wanted to obtain access to the fields through the residential property, and they could establish that through the easements, that would be another option.
Okay, I think we have the applicant online here, and I'm going to get Michelle to bring them in because they might be able to give a little more information about where we're at with
Yes.
that.
Yes, they've been asking to speak.
I keep seeing a message come up from the applicant, so I'm thinking they want to say something.
I'm not sure if we have Lydia or Phil on here, but you are in the meeting now, and if you unmute yourself, you can speak.
Okay, sorry, guys. We tried so hard to get on.
So, how are you? Yeah, I'd just like to answer a few of the questions you talked about. To put a second laneway in, it would probably take up like 0.6 of an acre to go up the east side of that existing property. As far as the MTO, I think they won't give us a permit until we have the okay from you to sever it. So it's kind of a catch-22. I had inquired about it before, but I think the answer I got was I have to have the okay from you to be able to do it before they'll give me the okay on a permit. So if that answers some of your questions.
I guess I have a question for the applicant. As far as reducing the parcel size and the shed staying with the severed portion, how do you feel about that?
I don't really like that idea because by the time we do put another laneway into it, like I said, it does gobble up a lot more. It gobbles up about 0.6 of an acre to be able to do that. The shed's 20 years old, so it's too nice a shed to be removed. So that's why we would prefer it would stay with the house.
Okay, thank you. Any other committee members have questions for the applicant? Okay, I don't see any. So I guess I'm gonna ask the committee how they feel, what direction they want to go with this. Anybody wants to give me an idea how you want, which direction you want to head? You want to approve it as amended by planning staff or approve it as originally applied for? Councillor McKenzie?
I guess I would, and I'll make it a motion that we move as amended. And if we turn it down, it wouldn't be the first time, I guess, and we'll go from there. But I think certainly, you know, in regards to Phil's comments, you know, an easement, I believe Andrew said an easement across the laneway would make far more sense than having to put a second laneway in. And, you know, the chances are maybe they don't even use the shed. I don't know. So that would be my motion that as amended.
Okay, we've got a motion from Councillor McKenzie. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Okay, I'm gonna second it to put it on the floor. We could vote on it that way.
So I'm, just to be clear, we are suggesting, you're voting on the recommended modification from planning with the addition of an easement.
No,
Across the
I
driveway.
think we're voting on the staff recommendation at this point.
Okay, okay, thank you.
You're muted, Michelle.
My apologies. Councillor Aitchison, how do you vote?
No.
Councillor Trentowski, how do you vote?
I vote no.
Councillor McKenzie?
I vote yes.
Councillor McDermott?
No.
Okay, and Chair Duncan?
Yes.
We have 3 votes no and 2 votes yes.
So that motion is defeated. So I guess I'll look for another motion from one of the committee members to approve it as applied for. Councillor Aitchison. Seconder. Councillor McDermott.
Councillor Trentowski, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Councillor Aitchison?
Yes.
Councillor McDermott?
Yes.
Councillor McKenzie?
No.
Chair Duncan?
No. That motion has been carried. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Can move along here to my apologies. I'm just trying to get back to my application for consent to sever B0224 Wooters. And I'm not sure who's going to speak to that.
Good morning. My name's Haley. I'll be presenting this morning.
Welcome, Haley.
I have a presentation, so I'm just going to get that set up. All right. So, good morning. I'll be presenting severance application B02-24. The application was previously presented to the committee and approved on March 12th for the proposal of a surplus farm dwelling severance. The application before you today is an amendment to the original surplus farm dwelling severance to include an easement for access and maintenance for lands municipally known as 17570 Elgin Field Road. Sorry. The purpose of the application is to establish an easement from the front of the existing dwelling to the county road known as Elgin Field Road. The easement will be in favor of the severed lands over the retained lands and is approximately 88 meters long by 3 meters wide, as identified in the severance sketch. The applicants previously completed an application to sever a surplus farm dwelling severance, resulting in a farm consolidation. The lot to be severed comprised of a total lot area of approximately 0.4 hectares with a lot frontage of 15.1 meters and access on Elgin Field Road. The severed lands contain an existing dwelling, septic, and well. The retained lands are approximately 40 hectares in area and approximately broken frontage of 406 meters. And contains a barn and silo, which the owners have indicated will be removed. A condition of the prior consent approval was included to demolish the barn and silos to the satisfaction of the Township of Perth South. In conclusion, it is the opinion of planning staff that the proposed application to establish an easement is consistent with the policies of the PPS, is in keeping with the intent of the official plan, and the subject property is located in a size for the respective zone. As such, it is recommended that the Perth County Land Division Committee approves the amended application B02-24 for the purpose of establishing an easement in favor of the severed lands over the retained lands for access and maintenance of an existing electrical transmission line. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Haley. Any questions? For some reason, I can only see I seem to be having trouble with my Zoom here. Just give me 1 second. There we go. I can see everyone now. Okay. Questions, comments? Councilor McDermott.
Just a comment, on the maps and stuff like that. I had kind of a hard time, finding the electrical going in. Like on the maps, it was very hard to figure where it was. So just in the future, if you got something like that, that's really hard to see on the maps, if maybe just an arrow to point where it is. I know I'm old, but I didn't need I needed to blow it up quite high to just to see it. And I just wanted to make sure that I knew what I was talking about. That's all.
Okay. Any other questions or comments regarding this one? All right, I don't see anybody from the applicant or applicant's agent wanting to speak to this.
I do have the applicant's agent here. I will bring them in case they have anything to add.
Okay.
Leanne, you're in now if you'd like to speak.
Good morning, Chair Duncan and councillors. Just to make a note of this, this is something that hadn't been discovered when the original application was submitted and when the surveyors went out to the property to plant the bars to prepare the final reference plan. That's when the field crew noticed, well, we've got a hydro line here that we need to address. So I appreciate you taking the time to look at this, and hopefully we can get this resolved and get everything put in place that's necessary so the owner of the severed lands can access the hydro line if they need to do any maintenance at all.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Leanne. All right. Don't see any more questions or comments from anyone, so I have a motion that Perth County Land Division Committee approves the amended application for consent B0224 submitted by Catherine M. Ritzema Phillips Professional Corporation on behalf of Patricia Wooters for lands described as Lot 20, South Boundary Concession, Blanchard Ward, Township of Perth South, 17570 Elginfield Road, subject to the conditions in the report. Moved by Councillor Aitchison, seconded by Councillor McDermott.
Councillor McKenzie, how do you vote? Sorry, you're muted. Is that a yes?
Yeah, that's a yes.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Trentowski,
Yes.
Councillor Aitchison,
Yes.
Councillor McDermott,
Yes.
Chair Duncan.
Yes. And that's carried. Thanks, everyone. Okay, moving along. Consent file status report. Michelle?
Oh, I'm good. I'm still unmuted. Okay, so since our last report, which was in June, and as of August 20th, we've had 10 new consent applications that are currently in process, and 7 applications that had been received before that that are also in process. 7 applications have been approved through the delegated authority approval process, and 8 applications received final approval during this time. Currently, there are 7 applications on hold for various reasons that are all listed in the report. Does anybody have any questions?
Councillor Aitchison?
Yeah, there's one from Perth East there that's been on hold forever. Did they
Yeah,
run out of time on that application at some point in time here?
That's actually something that we're looking into because we have a couple that have been, I'm just going to pull my report back up here. A couple that have been on hold for a while. So are you referring to the Bindale ones?
I'm
There's-
just digging it back up here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
let me just-
Bindale.
Yeah, so they had 3 separate severance applications. Actually, we should have asked Leanne about this. These are her files. But it turns out it's a problem with the UTRCA, I believe, because it's all unregulated land and they were waiting for UTRCA to figure something out. So the last time we followed up, they still wanted us to hold tight on them. So we had, it was the same with the Pew one. We were wondering about timelines for holding these. But we don't have a policy about that yet. So what we often do is just have the planners follow up and see if they want to continue with it or not.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, can I get a motion to receive the consent file status report? Councillor Trentowski and Councillor McKenzie.
Councillor Aitchison, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Trentowski,
Yes.
Councillor McDermott,
Yes.
Councillor McKenzie,
Yes.
Chair Duncan.
Yes, it's carried. Thanks, everyone. All right, I don't see any correspondence. I don't see any appeals. I don't see any other business. No closed session. Our next meeting is September 30th, 2024 at 9:30. So if we have nothing else, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Councillor McKenzie, Councillor McDermott.
Actually, I just have
Oh.
one item I'd like to ask. I'll still move to adjourn, but just
Okay.
wondering if Andrea and yourself could stick on Zoom after the meeting.
Okay,
Sure. Do you need me to stay, Councillor McKenzie?
Who said that? Michelle?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Do you need me to stay on as well?
You can stay if you wish, sure.
Okay. So Councillor McKenzie and Councillor McDermott, Councillor McKenzie put on the floor to adjourn. Councillor McDermott seconded. Councillor Aitchison, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Trentowski,
Yes.
Councillor McDermott,
Yes.
Councillor McKenzie,
Yes.
and Chair Duncan.
yes.
Thank you.
It's carried. We are adjourned. And
See you, folks.